Coming from Screen Rant today, Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins to leave Dungeons and Dragons design team. Now, this is a piece of news that's almost a week old at this point. I'm a little behind on it. The issue is, everyone kind of sourced back to this Screen Rant article. When you look at the other ones, Kotaku, IGN, all of them, they all link back to this. So I won't. I'm gonna take time, make sure I've got the original article, and really develop my thoughts on it. So we're here to talk about it today. Let's just go through it. Guiding forces of Dungeons and Dragons for the last decade are both departing Wizards of the Coast. Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford have been part of the Dungeons and Dragons design team for decades. If you don't know who these are the essentially design heads of 5e. 5e was their brainchild. Um, they handled mechanics and storytelling. So, I mean, they produced Curse of Straw, they made 5e what it was, and then they recently produced the 2024. So them leaving so soon after the 2024 kind of smells kind of fishy to me. And that's not me just being like, "Oh, yeah, no, this," it's kind of weird that they're leaving. It's like, no, I know how corporations work a little bit. I know that when people step down like this, especially immediately after a project is over, there's some stuff going on. Um, After leading the design on the new revised 5th edition of the new core rulebooks, both Perkins and Crawford are stepping away from Wizards of the Coast. Perkins announced his departure last week, and Screen Rant has learned that Crawford's last day will come later this month. Okay, their departures mark a massive shift for Dungeons & Dragons. Yes, this is why I think this is news that needs to be covered, and the fact that I don't see as many people covering it as they should be is really impactful, especially within the Dungeons & Dragons community. These are the people who headed it. If you liked 5e, if you ran 5e, these are the people responsible for it. They are the face of the product. They are the ones that led the marketing. They're the ones that handled the press. If you saw releases for 5e, you saw Crawford and you saw Perkins. That's just who they were. They were the face of this. Now, of course, speaking to Screen Rant about their pair's departure from the company, the VP of Franchise and Production, Jess Lanzo, said that this was something that the company had prepared for. Both of them have been working on Dungeons and Dragons for a long time. It's been a point of discussion for some time and something that we've been training up everyone for. They feel really good about the teams they have in place and the legacy they are passing on. That is an interesting one, because that's very good corporate speak for, yeah, they're passing on. I think the timing's just fishy. What I'm talking about, what feels fishy about this article, them leaving after being so long, they've been at this for over a decade, but they're leaving as soon as their new rules are out, and they've seen the response to their new rules. So even if they're leaving for, normal reasons, if they're leaving like, "Hey, okay, it's time to retire, it's time to move on," no one is going everyone's gonna say, "Okay, why are they leaving now? As soon as the monster manual's out? Why are they leaving as soon as their core books are out?" Well, if they're supposed to be heading 5e, why are they leaving now? I'm wondering if this has to do with the amount of uh, controversy the 2024 rules have gotten and the new changes that have made, especially because these are the brain children behind 5e. How 5e lore has been described. They're the ones that went into the details about the cultures and societies within 5e, and then you get the new 5e books and they're very stripped down. So it makes you wonder if maybe there's a lot of corporate manhandling going on where they were essentially told, no, no, that can't be in your new books. No, that can't be in your new books. And Crawford and Perkins are like, no, okay, fine. I don't want to work on this anymore. I can retire. I don't need this. I'm going to leave. That's just my thoughts and opinions on that, because I'm like, this feels like corporate manhandling in and trying to push them out. I've got a good feeling they had a lot of pushback of the new books, just because I wasn't impressed by their marketing of the new books. That's because they felt very stale, and that could just be because they knew they were leaving. It could also be that there was some corporate stuff involved that told them, "Hey, you're not allowed to do these things in your new books. You need to make sure uh the cultures aren't divisive. And I'm like, okay, that's not normal. That's not normal unless you're being pushed out. Screen Rant also confirmed with Lanzillow that both Perkins and Crawford's departures were on their terms and not part of some wider corporate move. Really, the VP of franchise and product at Dungeons and Dragons said this was not a corporate move. I don't believe you. The the reason is why would they head up, put their names on the new stuff? Why? W And the fact that they had to state this, most of the time you don't have to state this. This is kind of one of those situations where they're like, "Okay, no, it's not a corporate move," or they're saying, "No, we don't want it to be treated like it's a corporate move." Um, and my opinion is I'm very skeptical of these things. These VPs, their job is to sell the products, and if people feel like Crawford and Perkins were forced out, that would hurt their sales even more. You notice we still don't have sales data on the new 2024 books, despite them saying it's the most popular 5e releases they've had. We don't have sales numbers yet. Why not? I've seen them on bookshelves. I don't see people picking them up. Uh, so there's some funkiness going on at Wizards of the Coast, especially because they just scrapped Sigil. Essentially scrapped it. Um, they cut 90% of the team for their VTT. The changes to uh, D&D Beyond that they tried to make, the OGL disaster. Wizards of the Coast has not been in a good place to frustrate their community because their community is already treating them like they're on thin ice. And the 2024 rules didn't help, and the changes they made really ticked off the fan base. Um, okay, it let's go into what Lenzillo actually said about this. It's one of those things where you finish a major keystone creative project and you ask yourself, okay, do I have the next one in me for right now? Do I want to do something a little bit different? I think any creative can identify with that. No. Okay. I'm here. I'm creating videos. I also write and do other things and run campaigns. I am a creative person. I'm going, no, you really don't get the like, there's creative burnout, I get that, like, creative burnout, I've been there. Creative burnout is one of those things where you're just like, "Oh my gosh, I need to step away from a moment, let my emotions settle, let my feelings settle about this project, let myself reset," but creative works are very much at the whims of inspiration. Bolt from the It's like a bolt from the heavens that comes and goes very quickly, and I'm like, "This is not coming from a creative. This is" as far as I can tell, Zillow is corporate. VP of franchise and product. Okay, not VP of marketing. Interesting. You think this come through from the marketing. Why did they go to them? In the immediate future, no one will step in to replace Perkins. However, Lanzillo mentioned that James Wyatt and Wes Schneider, principal designers who have been part of it for years, have a bigger place at the table. Interesting. So they're not filling their roles, which means they were not ready for them to step down. Um, Again, this leads into the corporate thing. Did Crawford and Perkins get the drop on Wizards of the Coast? Did they go, okay, they're going to force us out. We know they're going to force us out. If we leave now, they don't have that role to fill, and this is a really bad time for D&D to lose its face, for 5e to lose the face in Wizards of the Coast. This is a really bad time. Monster Manual, I've seen some of the monsters in it. I'm not impressed. The Dungeon Master guys, I've started reviewing it. You can catch me on Twitch. Shameless self-promotion. We're doing it on Tuesdays, 10:30 Mountain Time, which is I believe 12 PM Eastern. Um, and so I'm reading the books. I know these books. I wasn't impressed by the PHB. I went through the entire PHB on air, reading through it live. I'm not impressed with the new books. uh, I was actually bored out of my mind with the DMG, and I'm like, I posted a clip. I'm like, hey, no, they're not they're not producing the DMs. They're having problems with the game, is what I'm getting at. They're having a lot of problems with the game, and to lose its public face now is a horrible thing you can do, because losing your public face now means that there's nobody there that the people can latch onto. Who are we going to latch onto? I believe Critical Role's moving towards their own format. A lot of groups are moving towards their own D20 systems. Third-party sources are more popular than ever, and 5e is just going to start repeating the books they did. I've got no doubt that there's a new Ravenloft coming out. I've got no doubt that there's a new Horde of the Dragon Queen or Descent into Avernus. They're just going to keep repeating their projects. I'm not convinced that the books are going to move forward, or that 5e really has a plan for the future outside of Crawford and Perkins. Again, they were the ones steering the ship, and they don't have a plan. Crackpot conspiracy theory, I said it before, and I'm going to put all of my thoughts together on this crackpot conspiracy theory after I finish the quotes, because that's really important. It's really important that we get the full story before I go full conspiracy theorist. According to Lanzo, the D&D team is shifting to match existing team members' strengths. Right now, we have folks in principal and lead roles that are escalating to take on more responsibility. We're looking at the team and our needs, and to figure out how to really construct the team in a way where we can work to everyone's strengths. Wait, you guys don't have anybody who can fill the role. That's what that reads to me. We don't have anybody that can fill the roles. Everybody's taking on. We're trying to play to our strengths. That's not okay. We have a plan without them. That's, oh no, we're scrambling. That's what that reads to me. And everybody can have a difference of opinion on that. Attending the press release, Dungeons discussed a 5-year plan for future releases. They have a 5-year plan. It will not be impacted by any of the changes. We have already set up the leads for all those future projects. Chris don't need any substitutes at this moment, because they were both in very high level road mapping roles and capacities for the last year. They've been helping us gather that strategy, set it together, help us figure out the correct casting for everyone in particular roles. Good about it. We're really happy that they're able to contribute in setting a plan for the future. Okay, so essentially we're just going to follow their plan. So Linzillo wanted to express her anticipation that all that Crawford and Perkins have brought to D&D. I joined the team a little over a year ago. Oh, so this is not somebody who's old in the role. This is not somebody who has worked with them for a long time. This is somebody who's just knowing them. The VP, a year as a VP, that's like, okay, you barely get to know everybody. You're learning to do the job properly. That's not a good sign. And working with has been one of the privileges of my career. That's very diplomatic. They're fantastic people, along with being fantastic creatives. I've learned so much from them that that goes for the same for the rest of them. They've been just so generous at sharing their decades of knowledge with us that we can move forward in this moment and really kind of let other people step forward and bring their cool, new, weird ideas to the table. Ooh, yes. Okay, this is where my like conspiracy theorist brain just starts latching onto corporate speak, because I speak corporate. I love speaking corporate. Buzzwords, breaking them down and translating them back is one of the joys in my life. I'm just going to go over a little point here that this person says. They've been so generous at sharing their decades of knowledge that we can move forward in this movement and really let other people step forward and bring their cool, new, weird ideas to the table. Okay, which means Jeremy and Crawford was holding some editorial decisions back. Again, now that we're kind of at the end of this article, I can put my conspiracy theory all together and kind of how this reads to me and how I interpret it. I think Hasbro was planning to make a move against Crawford and Perkins. I think they were holding back from a lot of the changes Hasbro wanted to see with 5e. I think there was a lot going on. They either wanted a scapegoat for their new book's failure. They either wanted them to make way different decisions based on different goals. I'm not going to say political goals, but different goals of the company. Or They wanted them to let the teams run roughshod over them. And instead of taking it on the chin or pushing back, Crawford and Jeremy said, not Crawford and Jeremy, sorry, Crawford and Perkins, uh, both said no. And they caught Hasbro ha, uh, flat-footed. They caught them flat-footed and by stepping down very abruptly, I might add. You know, one of them left like a week ago, and this one's saying he's leaving at the end of the month. So this wasn't planned future. I think Crawford and Perkins planned to leave. I think they didn't tell Hasbro, and that they caught Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast flat-footed. This is what that really leads. Hasbro had a plan to make these two the uh, again, opinion conspiracy theories and how cutthroat corporations like this work. I think they planned on making these two their scapegoats for the failure of the new 5e. And instead of letting themselves be set up, they caught them flat-footed, said we're resigning, and stepped back. And now Hasbro has to scramble. How can you follow their 5-year plan and write these books, because they're not going to come off the same, because you're going to have new people in editorial decisions. I'm wondering if they took their hands off the gas for these new 5e books and said let their teams do it, and that's why they turned out poorly. They said, okay, no, we'll let them do their own thing, see how they operate. They stepped down, and now this team is now scrambling. They don't have somebody that's the face of D&D. These people talked at conventions. These people talked on their publicity. They introduced monsters, talked about them like they were their creations, and you just lost them. And they're talking like, oh, they were just some creatives that were doing their jobs. No, 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 you don't understand. You lost your face of your product. You have all this stuff in there, but you lost the face of your product. And now you have to, one, find somebody who's just as capable, just as enthusiastic to fill that role, and they already said they can't. Conspiracy theory minded, this is how this reads to me. And I am not convinced that 5e has as good of a future. You're replacing the lead designers. You're replacing the people who made 5e what it was and explained it to us and their ideas behind it. You just lost all of that, Wizards, and you don't even this person doesn't even realize it. The fact this is not head of marketing, and I haven't seen something from head of marketing, which means I'm not convinced they were ready for this step down. And so I got a bad feeling that 5e is in a rough patch right now. The future is not looking bright for them because 5e is going to be changing gears. Not good. And if they're changing gears to keep going down the path they are, they're going to expect a lot more fan backlash. That's pretty much all I've got for this. It's a short, sweet article from about an interview from the product VP of product from Wizards of the Coast, not marketing. And this just reads like there are a lot of issues going on that we're not aware of. So I guess if you want to see more on 5e, what I think of the DMG, you can hop over to Twitch. Hop over to Twitch. It's on the profile. Hit that subscribe, hit that like button. I mean, you're at the end here. You've been here for 18 minutes. You obviously liked my commentary, and if you want to hear more on it, or you want these little 20-minute segments to go daily, or you want me to do daily shows like this, let me know. I'm more than happy to do it. You can tell me by hitting that like button, leaving a comment. Do you think Wizards of the Coast was ready for this, and why? It's everything that I've got for you. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week and enjoy your days. And of course, give me a charisma saving throw.